It's the Refined Reseller. Thank you for tuning in to my YouTube channel where I give you tips, tricks, and advice on how to be the best eBayer you can possibly be. So please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and let's get started. So I went to a garage sale. A lady had a lot of stuff underneath her carport, really nothing I was interested in, but I noticed the door to her house was open. So I asked her if there was anything inside, and she said there was. And I asked her to tell me a few things. She said she had some guitars and she had some sewing stuff. And I said, well, I'll be happy to look at the guitar. So I went in. To make a long story short, looked at the guitars. They were not very valuable, so I passed. But she had CDs and she had record albums. And I started looking through the record albums. I looked through one box and I told myself, you know what? I'm going to buy all of them. Looked through the CDs, the same thing. CDs from the 70s and 60s, some very eclectic stuff. So I finally asked her, I said, well, how many CDs do you think you have? And she said, 1,800. That's right, 1,800. And she also had about 200 record albums. So I said, look, how much if I buy it all? She gave me a price, and I got the money out of my wallet, and I immediately paid her. 2,000 items, CDs and albums. I'm not going to mess with the CDs right now and get into that because I really have not looked through all of them. I have looked through the record albums, so I'm going to show you what I got. The first album up is the Beatles White Album, and it's just not any Beatles White Album. Whenever you're buying record albums, you could have this Beatles White Album, another one right here, and another one right here. This one's worth $5, this one's worth $50, and this one is worth $300. Many different pressings of albums are made, and you really have to do your research, and you have to find out exactly which one you have. So the good thing about this Beatles White Album is that it is a JEM import from the UK. It has the embossed title, not printed. It is embossed, and I'm not 100% sure of the value of this album is. So I am going to put it on bid, let the auction run for 7 days, and I'm going to start the auction at $139.99. So again, one of the reasons that I have not really sold a lot of albums in the past is because you have to be very careful on how you grade both the album, the vinyl itself, and the album cover. Now, I have looked through all of these albums, and every one that I have seen, the vinyl is in near mint condition. I would never put mint condition on a record album because it's not new. The problem is if you sell a record album to a collector, you know, or an audiophile, and you list it as mint and they get it and there's a slight scratch or anything on it, they are going to want to return it. Same thing with the album covers. Again, I'm very fortunate that all of these albums, as far as for the vinyl is concerned, they are all near mint. Some of the album covers do have a few issues. Of course, I do note that in the listing. So the Beatles White Album, starting bid, $139.99. Here's another Beatles album. This is Abbey Road. And what's great about this album, if you look up here, it says Original Master Recording. It also has something called let me get this right. It is called MFSL, which stands for Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab. This was pressed in Japan. A lot of albums that are pressed in Japan are much more valuable than ones that are pressed in America. Again, it's a question of exactly what is this album worth. It's worth much more than an Abbey Road that is not an original master recording. So again, I'm going to put this one on auction, and I'm going to start the bidding at $79.99. So you can see why I was so excited to get these albums. This is the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, probably the greatest album ever made. This one was pressed in Japan. It is not pressed in America or the UK, so it has more value. I am going to start this on auction for $59.99. I'm just going to keep going. This is the Beatles Rubber Soul. This is a Japanese import. Much more valuable than just a regular Rubber Soul album. Not as valuable as the other two, but I am going to start this one on an auction for $29.99. It has the Japanese writing on it right here. And again, a valuable album because it was pressed in Japan. Now this is Emerson, Lake and Palmer, pictures at an exhibition. And again, this is an original master recording, MFSL. It was pressed in Japan, and I am going to start the bidding on this at $49.99. Just going to keep going. The Blue Nile, never heard of this album. It's titled Hats, but I looked it up and it has value. Again, this one was pressed in Japan, and it's a promotional copy actually. It says not for sale, but I can sell it. I'm going to start the bidding at $49.99. This is The Clash. The name of this is Sandinista. And this one right here is pretty interesting. It's actually 3 different albums. It's a 3-disc set. It again, 1980. It's a very valuable item. I say very valuable. I'm going to put it on bid and start the auction at $59.99. Now, this is Creedence Clearwater Revival, CCR. It says Edition 13, Audiophile Master Edition, Sweet Thunder. I'm not really sure what Sweet Thunder means, but I know that it has value because it was pressed in Japan. I'm going to start the bidding at $59.99. Another CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Cosmos Factory, original master recording, pressed in Japan. Another one of those MFSL records. I am going to start the bidding at $59.99. This is The Doors, and this is a Japanese import, as you can see from the kind of sticker thing right here. This is a gatefold album, and I am going to start the bidding on this one at $59.99 as well. So those are the really valuable ones. I do have a couple of more Doors albums. I actually have 2 of these. These are worth about $30 a piece. Then the Doors here, it's not worth that much, I don't believe. I'm going to put it on auction starting at $19.99. Then I have the Talking Heads. I'm just going to do a buy it now on each of these for $12.99. So when you look at the real valuable ones, I have 11 albums. And if I get the minimum that I am asking for them on the auction, it's going to generate $700 in sales. And you got to remember, I bought 1,800 CDs and 200 albums. So what about the other albums? Well, this is what I do, and I'm going to show you right here. This is David Bowie. This is the Grateful Dead. These don't have that much value, probably, less than $10 each, but I am going to group these together with some other 70 rock and roll artists that are very similar. I'll probably do a group of about 10 of these, and I will probably ask somewhere around $60 or $70 for all 10 of them, and maybe take a best offer if somebody makes me a best offer. And then when I look through them, I have a bunch of albums by the same artist. This is Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. That's 2. Here's another one. 3. Here's another one. 4. Here's another one. 5. Here's another one. 6. And I think that is it. Let me see real quick. No, here's another one. 7. And that's all I have. So 7 Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young albums. I am going to research them and see if they are worth anything individually. If not, I will group them all together and sell all 7 at one time. And I'm thinking these 7 albums will probably get me 50 or 60 bucks. That's just a ballpark guess for me. I'm not really sure. But I have many, many more. All right, here's 2 more by, let's see, these are by Eric Clapton. Behind the Sun, the best of Eric Clapton. Going to group these 2 together. Probably get $15 for them. This is a band called Dixie Dregs. There's quite a few of these. 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. Then I've got the Crusader albums. There are, I think, 6 Crusader albums. So I'm going to stop right here. I think you get the general idea. Again, going over this, what to look for. whenever you are buying a small amount of items, let's say 5 to 10, make sure you take the vinyl out and check it and see what kind of condition it's in. If there's lots of scratches, do not buy them. You know, a lot of times it's all about the condition of the vinyl and the album cover itself. Number 2, make sure you know what pressing you are getting, because like I mentioned earlier, you could have 3 copies of this album. One is worth 5, one is worth 50, one is worth 200, and the reason is it's a rarer printing of the pressing of the album. And whenever you're looking at an album, there's always a code on here. Like for instance, this one says CRP16002. So type that into your eBay search, you know, Crusaders live in Japan, type in that number and see what comes up. Also, again, I would not buy individual albums and pay more than, you know, maybe 50 cents, maybe $1 for them. If you can buy them in a huge lot and get them like I did for a very small price, that is really the way to go. So those are the albums. Like I mentioned, I did buy 1,800 CDs. I did make a video about whether or not you should sell CDs on eBay. If you'd like to check that out, just click the link right above. It'll take you right to it. So this is a Refined Reseller. Hope you learned something from watching this video about record albums. If you did, please like this channel and like this video and subscribe to my channel. And always do like me. Buy low, sell high, good sourcing, good selling, and I'll see you next time.